I wanted to talk about being a self-reliant filmmaker, but from the perspective of being a single parent. This is a video more for parents, whether you're a single parent or a parent in a couple or whatever it is. I want to talk about being in this industry as a parent and my own experiences, and maybe also inspire some of you to keep going forward. I am an entrepreneur, a filmmaker, an artist. I follow Jesus Christ. That's a really big part of my life. And being a single mom is one of the most beautiful things in my life. I love my daughter, and she's now 16 years old. I spent a good portion of my life building a business or building different businesses at different phases of my life. I find as long as it's safe, bringing your child with you to almost anything you do is a really positive experience because it teaches them so much about real life. She's seen me being a strong woman, and I feel like it inspired her and encourages her to know that she can go out and do the things that she loves to do. In terms of when I'm working on my own projects in this independent space, I don't really have regulations on me that prevent me from being able to do what I need to do with my family. When I worked in the space of film production, I used to do a lot of set design and art design and things like that, and a whole lot of PAing too. I realized that that's where the issue lied for me, was being on set and the ability to even take a project and have to find childcare, especially when she was smaller. And that's something that some of you may be facing as well. And I think that that's part of the reason that I decided to go off and direct, because I didn't feel like I was going to get a fair shot in the industry. And I also didn't have the ability or time, for that matter, to spend that much time on set and then try to work my way up set. It just wasn't for me. I like doing documentaries too. Part of that reason is probably because it's more flexible, where you got to find I'm not saying it's the same for you, but you got to find your place that's going to work. Nothing should ever come in the way of you being able to be there for your family. And when I was maybe getting the text for opportunities, they would expect a response like in 2 seconds. And being a parent, you have to, especially a single parent, you have to reach out to your support system to see if they can support you when you go on this long job that could be 12 hours or 18 hours sometimes. And that fast, the opportunity would be gone. And sometimes I would be really upset because I really wanted to be in that door. I really wanted to be considered for work. And then I felt like it was like a blow to me, like, ugh, don't use her. It was like I wasn't really getting the chance to really get my foot through the door the way I wanted to. Even though I was working here and there, it just wasn't a fit. And I say that to say, your gut, it's not going to always be fair. If you're coming into filmmaking because you want things to just be fair for you all the time, it's not. Even if you've come out of film school, you have to kind of build your way up. You got to pound down the doors. I know there's a lot about filmmakers, and it's hard to overlook some of the disparities in the filmmaking industry for women and for people of color in comparison to white male counterparts. But what I'm going to tell you is that even your white male counterparts have to bang down the door. So they, in most cases, are banging down the door. You're going to have to bulldoze that door down. And there's just no other way about that. And if you're a parent, regardless of race or ethnicity, at this or gender, because there are fathers out there too. I don't want to take away from fathers or single fathers in any way. You got a whole nother I want to say logistics around childcare and support and time and, you know, nurturing your child and family and all these other things, where somebody who is young and just coming out of film school can just go out there and, you know, maybe excel. So I say all that to say is, yes, you're going to have to bulldoze doors down. You're going to have to be super persistent. You're going to have to find your way. That just is what it is. And not everything is going to work for you. Not everything is going to be fair, but it's all going to be worth it. I love business. As creative as I am, I like the logistics of business and strategy and development and relationships and all these things. I even like making sure, like, I like managing my talent, and I love being a leader, and I like organizing things so that they work and that they function. I like tech. I like making, you know, I like looking at the specs on the camera and learning everything I can. And I think that a lot of that comes from the idea that I have to bulldoze that door down. You know, because I know that I need to know everything in and out, and I need to do that standing on my head, and I need to do that with multiple projects and take care of my family. And damn, I'm the shit. That's how I feel, right? Because I am. Like, when it's all said and done, I'm like, wow, and I'm just getting started, and I'm just learning, and I feel like God got so much in store for me. And that's that kind of passion that if you feel these things and this urge to move forward, you have to put your voice into it, because you're going to give permission for others to share their voice too. Pave your own path. Don't let anything stand in your way in terms of like obstacles or people telling you you can't do it, or people trying to make you feel bad because you have a child, or not seeing the fact of you having a child as something significant. Like, let's look at your qualities and your values. Like, anybody would want you to be a part of their team when we really break it down. Because as a parent, there's things that we just start to do naturally, especially if you're a single mom or a single dad. Everything comes down to multitasking properly, managing a budget, taking care of things, people's needs, knowing how to talk to people, knowing how to stop the tears, knowing how to make people smile, work-life balance to a point, whichever way that's possible. Investing in things that are going to produce some kind of output for you, taking your time seriously, eventually figuring out how to do it, like problem solving and strategizing, making something out of nothing, making something out of nothing again, making something out of nothing. I think that now grantors are starting to put in the fact of you having a child into the line item. But for so long, and I'm sure there's still a lot that don't do this, childcare just wasn't considered. How can you work if you don't have your child taken care of? You just don't. I don't know any parent that can show up 100% and their child isn't okay. As a parent, you know that there's something precious about life that is very valuable. It's not to be taken for granted. You know something about empathy and love and respect that you can contribute to any project, right? All of those things come together to make a parent a great filmmaker. And though people may overlook that sometimes, that don't mean that you have to have that narrative. In fact, the more you tell stories and the more you get the courage to bust down that door or bulldoze the door down, right? And you really just do everything possible to do this thing you feel passionate about and get that story to the screen, that's the more people that you're going to impact. I had a mentor once tell me, he said, you're scared to tell the story? I was like, yeah, what if I like mess up, or what if my story sucks? You know, or maybe I'm not the right person for this story. Yeah, all these things. I just had so much self-doubt. And they were like, so when you don't tell your story, then the world misses out on that and other people don't have permission to tell their stories, right? So think about that for a moment. When you don't tell your story, then other people miss out on that opportunity to tell their story because you were the person responsible to give them permission. You were the one to show them how to do it. So if you think for one moment giving up is an option, I want you to think about your children who are looking at you. And think about what is going to be absent in their life because you made a choice to not tell that story. Who could have been impacted by your greatness and your value? What team could you have been a part of and provided your significant input? If you are a parent and you're considering being a filmmaker and you're a single parent too, I want you to know that you can do it. It's like you want to be mindful about what opinions that you actually listen to, but you also want to be mindful to what the world is around you and the climate of that world, but also be mindful to your own internal capabilities and, also know your weaknesses too, right? It's very important to know your weaknesses as well. But everything that you do is significant and it impacts your child. It impacts your children. And it's going to impact a whole world of people. And that's why it's so important for your voice to be a part of this community. So I think that's enough for today. I want to thank you for joining me. Feel free to like, share, and subscribe. And, please, if you want to join me for some meditations, you're welcome to do that as well. My company is Creative Minds Yoga. That's the one where I connect my meditations and the fitness and all that other business stuff together. If you want to check out my projects, you can visit my production company's website, which is mindsproductions.com. And if you want to know more about me personally, IamRochelle.com has everything. All my businesses, all my writings, all my paintings, all of these different things about me. So you're welcome to check that out and feel free to contact me. I do respond to messages, and I really hope that you continue to find your voice and you don't give up. So thank you.